So now you're jumping back into the fray here for campaigning, for public service. How's that fit for you?
Well, one of the very nice things about this, I did sort of take a sabbatical for 5 or 6 years from the political scene, and so I'm really enjoying getting in touch with my old political friends on both sides of the aisle. Talking to people that I worked with almost constantly on the city council, getting away from that, I'm back to that. Plus, I enjoy, again, going door to door, meeting and talking with people. While I was on the city council, I made a real commitment to always being in touch with people. In fact, during the 8 years I was on the city council, I met monthly with the LIBA Budget Committee, with the home builders, with the Board of Realtors, with the Central Labor Union. Often I met with neighborhood groups. And so I really feel it's important to get input from citizens, and I demonstrated that when I was on the city council, and I plan to do those sorts of things again.
Well, that's good. That's very good. Now, what are some of your other priorities? You had mentioned about affordable health care as part of your priorities of your campaign. What are some of the other ones?
Well, I have sort of actually four high priorities. The first one, a strong economy. And I think the challenge of Nebraska is to not only educate our young people, but to keep them here with high-paying jobs. Property tax needs to be a big challenge, because I haven't talked to a single person who thought that property taxes were too low. In fact, that's probably the second highest issue that people bring up at the door, is their high property taxes. So I will work on those things. In terms of affordable health care, there's a number of ways I want to engage with that. One is with the S-CHIP program, the program for providing health care to children of families with very modest means. And right now, Nebraska has one of the lowest percentages that children can apply for S-CHIP. The way it works is the poverty level right now is about $21,200 for a family of four. Hard to believe how a family of four could survive on that. And the S-CHIP program then applies a percentage to that. Right now, Nebraskans is 185%. So if you make up to $39,000 for a family of four, your child can apply under S-CHIP for health insurance. Every other state except for one has that set at 200%. In other words, a higher limit. And one of my goals will be to get that raised. The third issue really is quality education. And I care a lot about that because I was a teacher, because I have grandchildren in the public schools right now. And I'm really kind of alarmed at what I see, because if you look at every state around Nebraska, the only state with lower average teacher salaries is South Dakota, my home state. And significantly lower teacher salaries, starting and average teacher salaries than the other states around us. And the problem with that is, as obviously teachers who are here now, let's say living in Lincoln, are not going to pick up their family and move when they're 50 years old. But what we're hearing, and I talked to a teacher at the door the other day, and she said that whereas her student teachers used to want to stay around close, now they're talking about other places with higher salaries. They're graduating with huge student debts, as all students are these days. And so if you walk across the line from Scottsbluff into Wyoming, the starting teacher salary is higher. And so this is sort of what I think of as the miracle of education in Nebraska, which is our students perform in the top 10% academically, but we're near the bottom in terms of teacher pay. That's kind of a miracle. And I think that miracle is going to come to an end as teachers who are living here retire and the new kids are going elsewhere. So that's going to be a target of mine, is to raise teacher salaries. We need to keep up this high achievement of students, and we're going to have to raise teacher salaries. And then fourthly is renewable energy. I've been very active in the past couple of years with the Nebraska Sierra Club. And our emphasis there has been wind energy, to get wind energy developed in Nebraska. And it's kind of a familiar story, unfortunately. We're 6th in terms of wind potential in the United States, but we're 18th or 19th in terms of wind development. If you've driven up to Minneapolis lately, up I-35, you see miles and miles of wind turbines. Iowa has less wind potential, but they're ahead of us in wind development. And so renewable energy, and it's not only wind, we have great solar potential, we have biomass potential. I'm going to work on that because it really ties into where I started with a strong economy. Every dollar we send out of the state for, let's say we're paying for Wyoming coal, we're hurting our economy. And so I'm convinced that if we really work on renewable energy, that's going to help the economy in itself, just because we're not sending our money elsewhere. Mm-hmm. An interesting side of that is Wyoming has some of the lowest property taxes for homeowners. And the reason is that every ton of coal that we buy from Wyoming helps pay their property taxes, because there's an excise tax on that coal. Mm-hmm. And so I think we have to be creative, and we have to look and say, okay, what do we export? Can Californians help pay our property tax, for example, for every gallon of ethanol that leaves the state? Mm-hmm. So those are really the 4 areas: the strong economy, affordable health care, quality education, and renewable energy.
Very good.